Hi, I'm our friend Finn.
And I'm Frank, and we've watched Doolittle 3 times so far this year.
And we're a real couple of bad boys.
Nobody told me there'd be a dragon.
We've recorded that like 12 times, and it's still bad.
I think that we should start by addressing the dragon in the room, which is that the year of the tiger is over. We are now in the year of the rabbit. Happy New Year, everyone. From this recent watch, what stands out to you, Finn?
It's a Viewlittle tradition for me to sleep about 3 hours on days before we watch Doolittle. As such, I had to fight off sleepiness like the entire time. So I took notes this time.
What are some of those important notes that you have?
All the mice and gorillas play chess. A lot of these notes are still nonsense, and I keep rereading them, hoping they make sense, but they don't really. So I have to read it and then come up with an interpretation of it. So all the mice and gorilla, singular, Chi-Chi, they're all like super smart. They know how to play chess.
They do know how to play chess, but it's not your traditional chess, is it?
No, I think there are no pawns.
Chess without pawns.
Chess without pawns, just real pieces.
The chess scene in particular, the way that the mice hit each other over the head and fall over dead, it reminds me of, in Star Wars, the wizard's chess that Chewbacca and R2 play. That probably has a real name.
Yeah, still don't know what this is. But it seems like they stole it from Doolittle, from what I'm getting, if it's the same thing.
It has a familiar feeling.
Right.
Where, let the Wookiee win.
Right. And Doolittle's the only movie I've ever seen, so I'm kidding. I've also seen Dr. Doolittle starring Eddie Murphy and some other Doolittle adjacent movies like Secret Life of Pets.
A Dog's Journey.
A Dog's Journey. Let's see. Oh, Kevin can speak English. We had a long debate about this for I don't know. We were talking for a couple millennia about this before we realized we weren't recording. Kevin says, "I'm too beautiful to die." And he says it in a scene where no other animal is speaking English because they're not. They're animals and they can't speak.
But I'm pretty sure that we as the audience are privy to the inside of Doolittle's head in this case, because Kevin is whispering specifically into Doolittle's ear. So he's not actually speaking English. It's just that the audience is able to understand squirrel because we're inserted into Dr. Doolittle himself's brain.
Well, see, there are 3 reasons I can think of. There's the one you said. There's the one I said, that Kevin can speak fluent English. And then there's a third reason where, they just cut this in and they didn't think about it. That being the least likely.
Right, the least likely. Absolutely the least likely.
And Kevin speaking English makes sense.
It could be that because Stubbins is such a proficient linguist, that as the audience is sort of like the Stubbins is sort of our insert, we are coming to understand animals more as Stubbins is. And so we're understanding the squirrel because
at the first 5 minutes
we've grown to understand squirrel already. We've been in Doolittle's house for a few minutes.
Counterpoint, Stubbins could very well be a squirrel. His uncle says, "This way, my scattered squirrel," in the beginning of the movie.
His uncle does say that he is a squirrel. It is possible that Stubbins is a squirrel himself.
And therefore, as the audience insert Stubbins, we can clearly speak squirrel.
Right.
And that's why, yeah.
This is good fin fiction.
I have Forceps jokes rules.
The Forceps joke. Let's dig into that one a little bit more. On this watch, I came to think that the Forceps are the through line of the entire movie. Because before I was saying that it was Kevin, right? Where Kevin gets added in to give this something that you're following. But now I'm pretty sure it's the Forceps. Because the start of the movie with the surgery of Kevin, you have Dab Dab, the duck, throwing in this Forceps joke in your face over and over again about the celery being a medical equipment tool, the leeks being a medical equipment tool. And then whenever they're packing to leave, Dab Dab says, "Make sure that we don't forget this medical equipment." She gives Chi-Chi the leek. And then whenever they're on the boat and Doolittle's making a mess for Stubbins to clean up, he's tossing around the celery and the leeks. He's throwing it all over the boat. And Dab Dab shouts, "Be careful with that medical equipment." Then in the end, Chi-Chi pulls the leak out of his backpack and throws it to Dr. Dolittle. And he finally uses these forceps, this leak, to pull everything out of the dragon's butt. So the most essential part of this is Dab-Dab's obsession with leaks and celery and forceps.
Yeah, okay. I think that's probably true. While we're speaking about Kevin, because I only care about Kevin, really, another reason why I think he's actually able to speak English is he's fought in wars. He knows what cannons are. He had war flashbacks.
He did have war flashbacks. Bombs weren't that big then. So Kevin is he's a time traveling squirrel.
Okay.
Because the explosions that he sees in his PTSD,
right,
when he wakes up from an anesthetic, those bombs are bigger than anything that would have, any kind of ordnance that they would have had in the 1850s.
So
right?
He's a squirrel from the future.
I think he's a squirrel from the future.
And therefore he can speak English.
I'm coming around on your theory here.
Okay. I also have written here that Doolittle is a tyrant.
Doolittle is a tyrant.
He says he doesn't own anybody, forces them to do what he wants.
I don't know if I can agree with you on this. Does he force them?
He says, I don't own anybody, but at the same time, they're all his pets. He doesn't treat them as equals.
They're more like a commune. They're all sort of...
You know, you say that, but I don't really think they contribute anything. Because, like, what do they contribute? They do tasks for Doolittle, so he doesn't have to do them. He doesn't want to answer the door, so he's like, Chi-Chi, go answer the door for me.
Well, Doolittle has machines that make food for everyone. Without Doolittle...
Are you talking about the animals or the steampunk machines? Because you could be referring to the animals, because that's how he views them. It's just machines.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. What does he truly offer these animals?
Someone who cares about them?
Does he, though?
He does. He helps them through all of their problems.
He doesn't, though.
He gives Yoshi a hat and lets him come live with him in England.
He gives him a token and then captures him to live with him in England. He gives him a hat that doesn't work because Yoshi's still cold. There's one scene where he's warming himself up by the fire and then he's cured from that because it's not actually a thing. Let's see, what else does he do? What does he give the whales? He just uses them to pull the boat. He doesn't offer them anything. He's a tyrant.
I was thinking about... I've been doing some whale research recently.
Whale research.
I was thinking about this because a lot of deaths of whales from whalers, it was through nets, through the use of nets and things. So Doolittle using this net contraption to get whales to pull his boat for him, he's sort of training these whales that boats and humans are safe. And then the whales are going to find out that these net contraptions will actually be their demise.
I think they're called Welsh.
The Welsh. The whales. Wait a minute. Hold on. Whales are incredibly essential in this story of a Welsh doctor who uses the leek, an emblem of Wales,
to cure a red dragon.
Which is right there on the Welsh flag.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of whales and Welsh. There's a lot of whales going on here.
But they're all done in a way that is negative. I think this movie is quite anti-whales.
It's pro-monarchy.
Yeah. Which I know we mentioned last time that Kevin is anti-monarchy, so it's very bizarre to me. But that's because he's from the future. Okay.
He is from the future. Kevin is from the future.
Weren't you going to say something about how fast whales are? Did you say that and I just didn't listen?
I did not say it yet. This is technically a reshoot on whales. We were kind of sarcastic as hell in our last podcast episode, talking about whales being faster than boats and saying that was ridiculous. But whales are faster than boats. So a humpback whale, normally it swims at 3 to 9 miles per hour, but it can swim up to 17 miles per hour in bursts. So harnessing your boat to this whale, it actually would make it much faster. And looking at the speed, you're probably saying, well, sure, but surely those boats are really fast. They're going faster than 17 miles per hour. We're talking about the end of the age of the sail here. In roughly, the mid 1800s is about when this movie is taking place. And similar Royal Navy ships from around that time, the speed that they're going, for those of you who aren't familiar with naval terminology, they talk about speed in terms of knots, and 1 knot is equivalent to 1.15078 miles per hour. So that's interesting. A humpback whale is going 17 miles per hour, which is whatever, who cares about what the knots is. A humpback whale is going 17 miles per hour. The HMS Victoria, which was a 3-decked ship in the British Royal Navy, it could travel at 11.797 knots. That was its top speed. The HMS Warrior, which was the first ironclad battleship that Britain used, and this was actually in 1861. I was pretty sure that the vessel they're using is a metal warship. Yeah. So the timeline doesn't actually add up of real world history. It doesn't. They didn't have metal warships in the 1840s, which is, if Victoria is a young queen, they wouldn't have had metal warships. They used metal plating on the outside of their ships, but they didn't actually build their ships out of metal. It wasn't possible yet. The technology didn't exist. But if we're looking at...
That could just be metal plating then. It does look like a metal ship.
But it doesn't have any sails either.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
I was looking at it. There were no sails. There were crow's nests on it, but there weren't sails on the boat. On this viewing, I noticed. And it looks most similar to the HMS Devastation, which is actually a ship from 1871, and it could only go 15.93 miles per hour. So a humpback whale at its fastest, which is 17 miles per hour, was faster than this HMS Devastation.
Okay, counterpoint. How long can that ship maintain that speed?
Well, that's the thing, is that these ships, once you end the age of sail and you get into these more steam-powered or engine-powered ships, they're running their speeds consistently. But if you factor in the amount of whales that Doolittle has working for him, which it shows is a lot, and we're talking about the 1850s when there were just more whales on Earth than there are now.
You're roughly 10 more.
Mm-hmm. So they could be cycling in this pod of whales.
Okay.
Sort of running a relay race, and then they can maintain 17 miles per hour.
And what does Doolittle provide these whales? Does he give them plankton or like any sustenance? Does he pay them?
He's just a nice guy. They're rooting for him.
So what you're saying is he harnesses these whales for their speed and doesn't give them anything in return.
The whales are monarchists.
Okay, makes sense.
Her Majesty's whales. Basically, all of the Welsh are working to save the Queen, is what we're seeing here.
Another thing is, I'm a fast guy. I'm faster than most cars for a short burst. But if I had to pull a sailboat behind me during that short burst, my speed would be hindered quite a bit, I would assume.
That would make sense that, a whale that's pulling a boat would not be going as fast as a whale that's not pulling a boat. But if we're looking at the ship stats, they're not hitting 17 miles per hour. None of these ships are hitting 17 miles per hour in the 1850s. They're just not. It's not possible. Some of them are only making 11 knots. That's, hardly any miles per hour at all. It's like 13 miles per hour. So, no, not interested in this.
All right.
Digression.
Okay.
I think that a whale, because it's not pulling dead weight, it's pulling a ship that's got its sails still, and it's moving, floating. And it's
on water.
So I think that the whale, really the mistake that they made is not having more harnesses. They only have one harness. They can only use one whale at a time. But if they have multiple harnesses, they could have more whales helping them out. Another thing about whales, a fun whale fact, their singing can be heard 20 miles away, and they sing these long complex songs. And also whales in the North American Atlantic, they sing a different song from whales in the North American Pacific that sing a different song from whales in the South. So all of these different whales that they use to help locate the HMS Britannia when Moodfly has got Lily's journal and he's going to the island, they would create a vast communication network, and they're able to sing their songs and communicate over, 20-mile distances. So that covers a lot of ground.
And I bet the whales that were helping Doolittle were southern whales.
Southern Wales, of course.
That's a little geography joke for you guys out there. Thank you. I have written down here, real couple of bad boys.
A real couple of bad boys.
We should just talk about James. Let's
talk about James. James the Dragonfly. Here's the thing about James the Dragonfly. I hated all of the bugs on my previous watches. I despise them. I hate all of the bug parts. They all feel tacked in for humor that doesn't land. But on this watch, I'm 100% in on James. I love the guy.
So when I was 7 years old, the 2 movies I saw, right, were Dr. Dolittle starring Eddie Murphy, and then The Godfather. So this reference would have hit perfect for me if this is the Doolittle I grew up with.
The thing about the Godfather reference is that it's one of those jokes they throw in there for parents. All these kid movies, they throw in some of these. Here's a little nudge to the audience. Here's a little wink, wink, for the parents to get a little chuckle out of them. I guarantee you there were some chuckles in the audience.
Yeah, you're looking right at one of those chuckles. One of those chuckleheads. But yeah, James just sucks. I didn't mind him as much, but consistently in all of my viewings, I have never come around on James.
I'm developing a theory about when things plug in where, which scenes were directed by which director. All of the James stuff, because the voice actor also comes across from the Lego Batman movie. There's that connection there. I'm pretty sure that it was added in by McKay in his brief time with the movie. He stepped in to help direct parts of it before he left to go make The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. But in the time that he was there, I have a feeling that he was the one who wrote in the James stuff, because he assembled edits and he also storyboarded sequences with Downey for parts of the movie. And the article in The Hollywood Reporter by Boris Kitt, it said that McKay was the one who made the story more mission-oriented, and he took Stubbins and turned him from Doolittle's son into Doolittle's apprentice. So supposedly, Stubbins was originally meant to be Stubbins Doolittle rather than a squirrel boy.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I haven't seen Lego Batman, but
I haven't either.
I have to assume from Will Arnett and Jason Mantzoukas in this movie that it's bad.
Those are the parts that really don't land.
Or maybe even better, they just took those lines from Lego Batman. he just had those audio lines. Right? It's like, we'll just distort the voices a little bit.
Chris McKay just pulled in. Here's some outtakes we had. This will be a cost-effective way to do some reshooting.
Yeah, they're a real couple of bat boys.
We're a real couple of bat boys. We're a real couple of Batman.
We've made that joke multiple times now because
because our memory card got full on our recorder, and now we're recording for a second time.
And each time I didn't really find it that funny. But what I've learned from Doolittle is if you just keep trying with that same joke,
just keep hitting the nail on the head, just keep hammering it,
that after your third viewing,
you'll come around on it.
While we're on James, there's a scene where he's on like a super well rendered Lioness, and you were saying that was a cut character. Are you assuming?
I'm assuming. So in the poster from The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle, the earlier cut of the movie, one of the character posters shows a lioness as one of the creatures, and she is cut out in the recuts. With the reshoots, she got removed. She was meant to be Barry's wife or perhaps ex-wife. I can't remember now, but she was somehow involved with Barry. She had a relationship with Barry, and whether that means that she was a lion under the employ of Rasuli or one that came along with Doolittle, I'm not sure, but I do think that they reused some of those CG elements with some of the lion sequences with Rasuli.
That makes sense. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, we did this bit before, so you've had some practice now. Thank God, because it wasn't too good earlier. But I noticed, the rabbit gives like an introduction for Barry, the butcher, Bernstein, weighing in at 10 pounds. It was a house cat.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was wondering, what would you do for intro?
If I was an announcer bringing Doolittle into the ring.
Yeah, and hopefully this time it will be a little better.
Hailing from Wales, a master with the forceps, none other than Dr. Doolittle.
There's no...
They should have said John Doolittle, because Barry Bernstein is 2 names.
John, Doctor...
John, Dr. Doolittle.
Doctor in quotes, because really he's just...
Is he a doctor?
He's just... can speak to he can speak to animals and has emotionally conditioned them into doing his bidding.
Well, he is capable of performing surgery, so we watch it on screen.
He does do surgery to save Kevin.
And they talk about how it's genius that he's going in through the left ventricle.
Yes, right. A dog who we assume is gifted at surgery.
He is capable of smelling toxins and poisons.
That's true. That's true.
We have to assume there's something going on there.
And then let's see, what else do I have here? I have written Victorian Era therapy, but I'm starting to see a through line that
time travel.
Yeah, time travel. Mm-hmm. So we're just gonna skip over that because I don't really find it that funny anymore. And then I also have written here, "Go to sleep, baby tiger. Time to put those claws away." Which I think is a good segue.
It is a great segue. And it's important that as we say goodbye to the Year of the Tiger, as we put the Year of the Tiger to sleep, and we say hello to the Year of the Rabbit, that we talk about the dungeon in Monte Verde in King Rasuli's castle. Mm-hmm. This dungeon, it feels like a mess. The amount of cuts that happen when Rasuli and Doolittle are speaking together.
Oh my goodness.
At first, there are so many cuts that happen between where the camera's positioned, like it's getting moved around so much, that everything just becomes nonsense to me.
Yeah, and I think you were the one who kind of pointed this out while we were watching it, is that I am unsure that Antonio Banderas was there for all of that, because there's a scene where it completely cuts out his face for like a minute or 2 minutes, and he's just talking, and it's like not avoiding showing that's Antonio Banderas, mm-hmm. and it very well could have been a stand-in, and the whole thing is ADR too.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on this. I think that they do break the 180 degree line where like you're not supposed to cut around it. I was trying to focus on it and make note of it on this watch, but I'll have to revisit on the next watch because I lost it.
For people who aren't me, because I clearly know what that is, what is the 180 degree line?
So when you're editing dialogue between characters, there's this unspoken rule about the 180 degree line where you don't cross it with your camera so that the audience can keep perspective on what's left, what's right, where things are positioned with each other. And it's not like it's not a rule that you have to adhere to, but just to make things more coherent. It's a good practice too.
Right.
And if you're not using it for some kind of intentional confusion, it just makes scenes sort of bizarre.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it's hard to place in those dungeon sequences where Rasuli is standing and where Doolittle and Stubbins are standing and where what the dungeon actually is structured like, where the cages are, what the dimensions are. I'm pretty sure it's jumping back and forth over.
Let's see, another thing. Rafe Fiennes?
Rafe Fiennes?
Fiennes. Oh my goodness.
I believe it's Rafe Fiennes. It's spelled like Ralph Fiennes, but I'm pretty sure that the Google pronunciation guide thing. It's Rafe Fiennes.
We have to lose his audio again, so I have a third try to say that. Same with all these jokes. They might land the third
Maybe
time.
when we record it again, we could really power these home.
So for Ray Fiennes, he does a pretty okay job. Like it's not good, but it stands out particularly in the Monte Verde scenes because all the voice acting is pretty awful aside from Pauly.
Yeah, I think that his hamminess is fun as a villainous tiger. I think that his sort of theatrics that he puts in, like he's overdoing it it's oh, woe is me, the tiger berry. It's not, that was really bad, but that kind of feeling.
I would agree with that. I think he does a pretty good job. Also, like I have a feeling that this was like a coherent shoot. Like he recorded all of his lines in 1 to 2 sessions, and like that's the other reason why his audio is good, because it's not like piecemeal together like everyone else's. Because like one of the most egregious examples is Kevin, where you could just take his lines and put them any spot because they all seem out of place.
He's just filler.
And he's not the only one like that. Like Plimpton and Yoshi are like that too a lot.
Little quips for humor.
Yeah, but it's almost like they're like, hey, just say all these jokes. We'll just add them in later. Like they don't really have a spot.
They don't have a scene to build on, whereas he's able to chew up the scene of this tiger interacting with Dolittle. Yeah.
And that also brings us to Will Arnett, who we mentioned kind of sucks.
Yeah. His strange rabbit observer character.
Oh, I have a question for you. Speaking of rabbit and the year of the rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the rabbit?
I don't believe he has a name. I believe he's just the rabbit or the hare. I think it's just the rabbit.
So do you want to give him a name?
Yes.
Oh boy, this is a new bit, so this is uncharted territory.
Where is he gonna go with this?
We didn't get this far last time.
Let's see. The year is 2023. A good rabbit name. Thinking about the names of these other characters in this movie.
Right.
And characters that were not part of old Doolittle stories. So ones that were written specifically for this. So you have like Yoshi, Plimpton. These are characters that weren't in other what's the author of Doolittle's name?
Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
I don't know his name.
I have it here. Hugh Lofting.
Oh, okay.
They aren't Hugh Lofting characters. These are created for this movie.
Oh, that's House, right?
So thinking about names that are similar to that would resonate with audiences in a mysterious dungeon where a rabbit is living and the tiger's name is Barry. I think that the rabbit's name would be the Count of...
Oh, you have the joke. Just say it.
The Count of...
Well, I mean, if we give this rabbit backstory, right?
Right.
He was probably set up for a crime he didn't commit and was falsely imprisoned.
I think that that's definitely true.
And then I'm assuming that he learns fencing after the scene is over. He learns how to fence and how to fight and how to be like sort of a aristocrat figure.
We do see him wearing an eye patch, but I have a theory that he doesn't actually need the eye patch.
And I think like if we follow this arc, he probably escapes Monte Verde.
And he's the Count of...
Oh gosh, you
I know it. You know, he's the rabbit in the Iron Mask.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that.
This is getting cut.
Yeah, okay. Who is it?
Nobody told me there'd be a dragon.
Speaking of like naming the rabbit, right? So part of that is like, what do you want this year the rabbit to mean? Like, what are you looking forward to?
My hopes and dreams for the year of the rabbit.
Yeah, because like we've just kicked Barry in the balls.
We have. We've put this little tiger to sleep. He's sleeping. He's put his claws away.
So where do you want to end up for the Year of the Rabbit?
I hope that the Year of the Rabbit brings a deeper love and understanding to this strange, bizarre movie. That's what I'm looking forward to in the Year of the Rabbit. I'm looking forward to a
What year do we transition to after this? Is it the Year of the Ostrich? The Year of the Polar Bear?
the year of the
Dragon would actually
the Year
be
of the
one.
Dragon.
I don't know where it goes from here.
I'm gonna Google it. Hold on.
Yeah, that's about all I have to say about the tiger and the dragon and the dungeon. It's very bizarre. It's very clipped together. It's not very good for the most part.
You're not gonna believe what comes after the Year of the Rabbit.
Is it the dragon?
It is the dragon.
Oh my
So we're over the course of this podcast, we are transitioning from the Year of the Tiger, Barry himself, to the Year of the Rabbit, the Count of, it's right there, into the Year of the Dragon. Who I don't know if we've addressed this. The name of the dragon is Ginkgo who soars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she says that like 6 times.
Yeah.
Ginkgo who soars.
And I'm pretty sure that it's actually a misunderstanding of her name. It's not Ginkgo who soars as in flies. It's Ginkgo who soars as in she's sore because she has a bunch of armor in her colon.
So it's Ginkgo who soars, and you're saying it's because she's sore. That
Right.
is sore.
She is, sore. S-O-R-E.
Okay, gotcha. What else is on the agenda? What else do you have to talk about today?
So I do have one other note here on transitions. I wrote down the water lily transition, which specifically it's focusing on when the British HMS Britannia sinks Doolittle's water lily ship in the cove of Monte Verde. The ship goes down. There's a really great transition that happens where you're cutting from the sinking ship to the painting in the Queen's bedroom where the stick bug is. And it sort of is a shot matching transition. And it feels nice. It's a good transition. I was watching a interview with Stephen Gaghan where he was speaking back in, I think it was 2006, to the Writers Guild. Not sure which one, Writers Guild of America, perhaps, Screenwriters Guild of America, something like that. It's on YouTube. He specifically mentioned in that interview that he was having that he, as a screenwriter, likes to write in transitions because he thinks that shouldn't be left to directors and directors of photography to figure those out. He thinks that a good script includes transition moments and is able to dwell on transition moments. And that moment in particular, whenever we watched it this time, I was like, this is sort of what he's talking about. This is something that he probably specifically wrote.
Yeah, and I think that for the most part, I feel like that's a good idea, is like writing that into a script. I do think that like sort of makes it a lot more rigid than some directors would want.
Sure.
But if you're willing to follow the script, then yeah, I think that's a good idea. And the transition itself is pretty amazing. The other good, it's not really a transition, it's more just like, I think it was his work, is the flashback scene with Lily.
Where it cuts between Doolittle on the boat.
Yeah,
reminiscing.
it has like a whistle score to it that's really haunting and cool. And then
it's like a siren call type sequence where he's looking over the edge of the boat. Yeah. And then goes back into memory.
And it doesn't fit at all within the context. Like this, he just sort of wakes up, has a flashback. Stubbins come in and he's like, Stubbins says, "I think I can speak to animals." And Doolittle's like, "Yeah, sure." And
I was just remembering, you've interrupted.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Hey, you just interrupted me. I was just thinking about Stubbins.
But yeah, I think there's not really too many transitions. Like, and then you can see the opposite effect on that with the transition to Monte Verde, which is a statue of Razuli with a bird pooping on his
nose. Yeah.
And it's not very good.
No, and it's Polly's giving a narration, and then all of a sudden it's just bird poop.
That's kind of this movie, honestly. It starts off with Polly giving the narration,
And then it's just bird poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the notes I have. So while we were watching the movie, and I drew some pictures that I showed you.
They're very good pictures.
Of Plankton and Yogi. And I drew some more for you while we've been discussing this.
Oh, wow.
And they're some of my favorite scenes from Dolittle.
I'm going to look at these and describe them to you guys. So here's what we have. So Plankton, which is supposed to be Plimpton, but he's gotten that all wrong.
God.
He's over here saying, nobody told me there'd be a dragon. So that's one. Then you've got, he says Yogi down here. It's supposed to be Yoshi. He's got that wrong too. He's saying respect. And then you have Stumpins, who's supposed to be Stubbins, I believe. He's dabbing. And then
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
You got Jimmy himself. That's supposed to be James, the dragonfly, but Jimmy, he's over here and he's going, we're a real couple of bad boys.
And Stubbins is dabbing to
Stubbins
that.
is dabbing, of course.
Put that out.
And then you have Plumpton. Oh my god! These are really good drawings. I'm going to go ahead and capture these. We're going to scan them in. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see them physically. We'll make that happen. We have the technology. If you're listening to us anywhere else, you can check us out on YouTube. And if you fast forward to this minute mark, you'll be able to see these wonderful drawings. So they're really good.
Thank you. And yeah, I just wanted to, because taking screenshots from the movie, that's prohibited. I wanted to avoid copyright.
Right. So you've given them you changed their names a little bit.
Well, this isn't Dolittle. This is my fin fiction.
Oh, fin fiction, of course.
And they look so lifelike that I didn't want to get sued, so I changed it up.
That's a really good idea, and I think that Universal won't be able to touch us now, so that's good. Is there anything that you are watching or doing or seeing, or a new hobby or a new activity to keep you sane while we're watching Dolittle?
A through line to Danny Elfman is I just finished Wednesday.
Oh,
have you watched it?
That is the Addams Family, sort of inspired Tim Burton Netflix TV show.
Yep.
I watched one episode. I watched episode 3.
Why?
Because I was at TJ's with Nico and they were watching it, and so I watched episode 3. Hey guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fun. It was Zoomer humor, sort of.
It's not.
It's Zoomer humor written from the perspective of a non-Zoomer.
Yeah, it's not even Zoomer humor. They're saying stuff that's like, I'm like, wow, that's something I said in high school, and I'm like 60. So.
Right, but it's something that someone who's older than you would think that they're saying now.
There's a distinct lack of dabbing, which I dislike.
That's really too bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to break away from Dolittle. Break in something else. Did you enjoy it? Was it fun?
It was okay. I think one thing that you can do to fix a lot of shows and movies is just cut half of it. Like, it didn't have to be 8 episodes. It could have been 4 episodes, and they're all like roughly like an hour long. You could have cut it down to maybe 4 hour and 15 minute, hour and 20 minute episodes.
I tell you what I did like was the hand.
Oh, Thing is great. Yes. Yeah, he's great.
He's very fun. I did think that from the one episode I saw, it felt very overlit. Everything was like, super. The HD lighting stuff that you see a lot, where everything's just.
What about you? What have you been up to?
I tell you what, I have been listening like crazy to Lexi Lu's new album. It's called The Happy Star, and it rules.
I don't know who that is.
She is a Mandopop Chinese pop star, I guess.
Okay.
But her new album it came out like a couple months ago, but it's super synth heavy, and I've been really enjoying it.
Sort of aside for the music, the only music I've been listening to before the year ends is Eye of the Tiger.
Nice. Have you been preparing any rabbit songs?
I feel like I should emphasize this is not really a joke. So On our Spotify rap, it was my most listened to song by a long margin. Because at work, it's just, I don't know. As a joke, I listened while I was putting up inventory. I listened to it for 4 hours on repeat. So just to loop that back in about the Year of the Tiger and Doolittle and how I'm an obsessive personality.
I think it's time that we put this tiger to bed.
Okay. Do I like, or did I enjoy? Do I recommend? I still, yeah, go out and buy it. You can buy it in bulk. I think they sell like 40 copies. $15 each, but you get a deal if you think about it.
Do be careful if you're going out and choosing to buy the Blu-ray. We bought 2 copies, and one of them did not have the digital redemption code. So we're currently in email conversation with the Universal Distribution Group to get our other digital code.
Well, see, that's the kickback I got. You bought them and they sent me those codes.
No.
So yeah, go out, watch Doolittle. It's a great flick. It's fun for the whole family. Definitely hard recommend at this point. Did I enjoy it? Not really. What about you?
I enjoyed it more this time than last time. I've sort of, as this new year comes along, as we say goodbye to the Year of the Tiger and hello to the Year of the Rabbit, I'm got a new lease on life and a new approach to Doolittle, and I enjoyed it. I'm reframed, and I'm not gonna recommend it.
Respect.
We're just a couple of bad boys.
That's the tagline of the podcast.
How do we say goodbye again?
Where can you find us? Where can you let's get some plugs in here.
Okay, here's some plugs. We are on, our main podcast host is Simplecast, which puts us out to tons of other places. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Pandora and Stitcher and all the essentials. If you can't find us somewhere and you like to find us on a podcasting distributor, let us know and we will try to work that out. We're also on YouTube. You can watch us. And YouTube does have automatic subtitles, which I go through and I try to clean up. So if you want a subtitled experience, you can find us there that way.
Okay. What about, do you have any personal plugs?
No.
Yeah, me either. What's our email?
Our email, we are drviewlittle@gmail.com. That's dr.viewlittle@gmail.com. You can send us your Doolittle stories or Doolittle notes, or if you're a member of the production team, you can send us your insider information on Doolittle. And we'd love to hear from you.
Well, my name is Finn.
And I'm Frank, and I'm out of here.
Okay, let's go.
Bye-bye.